Oh no, what's happened here? And what we're going to do about it? Well, watch the film and you'll find out. Well, hello and welcome to another edition of our Wolfie's Wheels. As you saw in that introduction, there's been a bit of a kerfuffle with the driver's side mirror. And this film isn't looking at the rights and wrongs of what happened and blah, blah, blah. It's happened and it needs sorting out. So today we're going to actually set about changing the mirror on the driver's side of the 2021 Autosleeper Kingham, which is based on a Peugeot Boxer chassis. Now, I've watched a few films on the old YouTube how to do this, and I think that this one's going to perhaps be very slightly different insofar as the ones I've managed to find didn't seem to have remis blinds fitted to the front windows, so that does make it slightly more complicated. I think, I don't know, I've not tackled the job before. Anyway, about the mirror itself, I went online to see if I could find how much it would cost for a complete new mirror, because as you saw on the thing, that the whole of this outside plastic bit was completely shattered. And I actually found a place called Van Wing Mirrors, and I'll put their details in the description below. Now, there's no payback or anything for me on this one. It's just that if you're looking for a Van Wing mirror for your Ducato / Boxer / Citroen Relay van, and maybe any other van, I don't know, I didn't really look, then they're a useful source. This mirror here I bought, which has got the heated and electric glasses and the temperature sensor, which is this little bit here underneath, was £103 delivered on a next working day delivery, cheaper if you wanted it a bit longer, and that was sort of the best price I could find. But there's loads and loads of different mirrors that you can have for these vans, mainly to do with the length of the stubby bit here. So this is the short mirror, but you can get them in a medium length or even a long length, and they sell this back part, they sell the glass, they sell the bottom glass, they sell all sorts of bits if you don't need the whole unit. But as you could see earlier, we needed the whole unit. So we're going to set about doing this. It's raining. I really didn't want to have to do it in the rain, but such is life. In terms of what tools you're going to need, well, you're going to need some trim removal tools, and the mirror is held on by 4 Torx screws, and you need a T40, that's a T40 Torx head thing to fit it. And other than that, you just really need a ball of string. You may think, well, why do you need a ball of string? Watch and I'll show you. Anyway, let's set about removing the bits of the trim and see how we get on. Now, you're going to have to remove this little panel here, which has got the window electrics on it, because all the gubbins that drives this mirror, as you can see here, all electronically feeds into there. And then this unit here is also going to have to be removed, because although 2 of the Torx screws are visible, one there and one there, there's another 2 which are kind of under there. So I think I'm going to have to take that whole panel off, but I don't know, I might be able to just pop it and get round that. But let's just start with taking this one off here. I've got my trusty off of Amazon trim removal tools, which you might have seen me use in other videos when I changed the dashboard on the Fiat 500. So just put that into there and then see what happens. There you go. It makes horrendous noises, but that's what trim does when you remove it. Let's open the door, see if that helps. Doing it one-handed definitely doesn't help. There you go. It's got that. So there you go, and you can see this is the windowy bits here, which I'll probably take off just to give myself a bit more room. And then down there, that's the temperature sensor for the mirror, and that's the main controls for the mirror. As you can see, they correspond to 2 bits of electric on this mirror. So the mirror is absolutely complete. with all the electric gubbins and everything. While looking at how to get this remus blind off, I kind of started wriggling in it, and it sort of literally started to come off from your hand. So I think that's the answer, guys, is to get this remus blind off. You just sort of have to work your way around it and see what happens. I mean, it seems to come off, including this panel here, but you can see the bolts there and there in there, but I'm just not going to be able to reach them, I don't think, without taking this whole blind off. I can't quite see what's attaching it at the moment. Anyway, I'm going to carry on wriggling it and I'll tell you at the end how I managed to get it off. Right, yeah, maybe it's not quite as straightforward as you might think, because hopefully you can perhaps just see in there, there's a little bloody screw that you really can't access. So I'm going to have to sit and think about this for a few minutes and work out how the hell I'm going to get this this off. So I'll be right back. What do you know, just a couple of seconds later than that, I discovered that I can just push that bit there out, and inside you can see the little screw. So let's have a dig at that one. Yeah, that little screw did it. So as you can see, just down here, the whole unit's come off, and the little screw goes in that hole there. And yes, folks, I appear to have already lost that little screw. So that's a good start. I'll probably have to just rattle that out of the this thing. It's probably just dropped down somewhere. Anyway, I'm sure I'll find that one. So actually really good news, because I immediately looked at the unit which is on the floor there and found that the screw is actually still in the hole. So it's kind of half retained. I think it might be some sort of self-tapper that's slightly bigger than the piece of plastic it goes through. But phew, the screw is not lost, because that's the sort of thing that just sort of happens when you do these jobs. But it does of course mean that I did lie at the beginning of the film when I told you what tools you'll need, because you're also going to need a crosshead screwdriver if your van is indeed fitted with these remus blinds. Other than that, it just kind of popped off. I mean, they've always rattled a bit, and kind of understand why now, because it didn't seem to be that well held on. But it is what it is. Anyhow, we'll move on to the next section, which is actually removing the old mirror. The first thing we'll do is we'll just remove this for the windows, which I'm going to have to do off camera, because I can't do that and film at the same time. So I'm going to remove that, and then just unplug these two plugs here, which are the wires that go to the mirror, and I'll get back to you in a minute when I've done that. Right, so there you go, that's unplugged, and these are unplugged here, as you can see. That's the one with the temperature sensor, and that's the one that moves all the mirrors electronically. And the next thing I'm going to do is tie a bit of string around them. And the reason is that, as you can see here, it kind of goes through there and then up through there and out to the mirror. And if you put a piece of string on it, you can actually pull everything out, and then when you're coming back the other way, you've got a long piece of string that runs through here, and you can just put all the wiring through. It just makes the job a whole lot easier. Anyway, I'm just going to tie a bit of string on it, which I'm sure you don't need to see me film. And then we'll move on to taking off these four. There's two there, and here's the other two. Gosh, look at the spider's webs. Another two, one there and one there. As I say, tie a bit of string around that next. These were in pretty tight, but I've sort of cracked them off before I started filming, so you couldn't see me swearing and cursing. Yeah, it's much easier with a ratchet, of course, but you don't need to see a man undoing these. So I'll carry on filming in a minute when I've actually got these off. So nearly got all the bolts out now. It's definitely easier if you do it this way, holding the thing from the back. Just put a bit of weight on it. I have discovered that all of these four Torx screws are in fact all the same length, so it doesn't seem to matter which one's the top and which one's the bottom. But you'll note the mirror hasn't actually fallen off as such, and that's because there's a little clippy thing at the top that sort of hooks it in. Anyway, just there you go. that's all out. You can see the hooky thing just on that top one there. So you just pull it all through. That's the theory. I'm just going to nip inside and feed it out from the other side. Just needed a bit of feeding out because the thing on the end of this piece of string had actually got itself caught round all of this. But if you come out with me, oh my God, I'm wet. I'm really pretty hacked off, to be honest. Been in the middle of a heat wave for weeks, and today I decided to do this. But there you go. So there's my bit of string, and there's the dead mirror, which, as you can see, was completely knackered. So in true DIY fashion, I've tied it down not too tight on that piece of string, and I'm going to have to cut it with scissors. I hope it doesn't shoot back up, which it hasn't. So just put a bit more of that old string through, and I'm going to tie it on the new mirror. So we just get the new mirror and put it all. To get itself caught up on the old one. I mean, what are the chances of that? This thing's just fighting me every step of the way. How the hell has it done that? Get over there. Right, so let's just hook this on for now. I need about 4 hands at this stage, so that's another thing I didn't say that you're going to need is some assistance probably. Might be able to do it with winding the window down. Oh, I've detached them, haven't I? Right, so that's the window down. So can I pull the string, that's it, pull the string from the inside. Pull. And it's starting to appear. That's all stuck there. Right, okay, so thread all that into there now. Okay, so we've now got the wires completely in sort of the right place on the inside, and now it's just a matter of sort of reattaching this mirror. So that's a part of the gasket, so I just have to fiddle around with this a bit. So I don't quite know why that goes there. Maybe it goes like that. It's just a matter of getting the things on the inside now. A little bit of fiddling. There are various bits to line up apparently, which aren't necessarily obvious. Pins and things to line up. Right, so let's just go and put some screws on the inside, just to secure it a bit better. Right, so after some jiggery pokery, we've got all the screws back in, and you can see just down here the benefits of the piece of string which pulled it through there and then under there and round there. So I've now got to plug these things back in down there, and hopefully, because it's raining, hopefully it's not all got too wet down there and it's going to blow a fuse. you know, we live in hope. But it's not been the most straightforward job, basically because of the weather. That's how it is sometimes. So as you can see down there, it's plugged back in. You do need really small hands, injuries and everything, and that's plugged back in. So it's now the moment of truth before we put it all back together properly. Turn the ignition on, turn the radio off as well so we don't get any copyright issues. Put it to the right hand side, and look at that, the mirror is moving, so all the electrics are working up and down and so on. So that is most excellent. So it's a matter now of just clipping this thing back in. Look at that, real time. And it's still working, that's good. And then put this remist blind back on. You can see a bit more now. So that's where the little screw goes there, and it appears to sort of drop into there. I'll dry this off as well, I think, before, because it's absolutely soaking wet. Because, I mean, talk about miserable. I know I'm banging on about it, but we've been in the middle of a heat wave for days, and then yeah, I decided to do this job. I'm going to have to change when I get in because I'm so wet. Lovely. And there you have it. That's how to change the mirror on a Seval or Ducato / Citroen Relay / Peugeot Boxer van. It's a relatively straightforward job. It's a little bit fiddly. It made a far harder than it needed to have been in the rain. But that's just how it is in the UK. I've got the remist blind back on. It's just simply a reversal of the process. Anyway, I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe, tell your mates about it, share the video, etc, etc. And in the meantime, that's all for today, and I look forward to seeing you in a future episode of our Wolfie's Wheels. Bye.